Hello everyone, welcome to Fight Radio for the latest combat sport talk. Former World Strongest Man winner Eddie Hall is set to make a strange MMA debut this weekend. The twist is he is going to face two influencers whose combined body weight is lower than his own. Yes, it's 2 versus 1 MMA match. The Neffati brothers Jamel and Jamil claim to be 5 feet 3 inch tall and tip the scale at just 145 pounds each. On the flip side, Eddie Hall stands 6 feet 2 inches tall and weight well over 320 pounds. Last month, Eddie Hall broke the world record for the punch force at UFC PI. Eddie Hall record is 208,000 unit, where Alex Pereira previously held the record with 191,000 units. Eddie Hall had one boxing match already. He lost narrow decision with long-time rival Thor. Also, the Neffati brothers Jamel and Jamil have fought before in 2 versus 2 freak fight in Poland, in which they both stopped their opponent. So Eddie Hall called them two children. He said, "I'm going to fight two children in MMA" on Michael Bisping podcast. Now it is interesting to watch. Can two average fit men stop the one of the hardest hitter of the planet?
So yeah, this first fight will be a 2v1. I'm going to call them children because they are quite small. About 70 kilo, about 5'5", 5'6", about 70 kilo in body weight. But there's two of them. They both had a few MMA fights.
So what are we going to do? Are you going to just unleash on them 100%? Are you going to knock these out? Or what's the plan?
I mean, the plan is just to stand and fight. So if ever hit the floor, all the sort of experience now just to get up and back to, fists. I guess you're right. I guess the best tactic would be concentrate on one, knock him out, and then pick him up and knock the other one out with the body,
And when's that happening and where can we watch?
So June the 7th, World Freak Fight League. So if you look them up on Instagram, all the pay-per-views on there and everything, so...
UFC CEO Mr. Dana White is not ready to accept Islam Makhachev as pound-for-pound #1 fighter of the world. During the post-fight press conference of UFC 302, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier, he says, "Jon Jones is #1 pound-for-pound fighter, MMA fighter of the world."
Called Islam the perfect lightweight, and they're just the size, his style of fighting, just his fight IQ. I'm curious, where do you rank him in this pantheon of lightweights that we've seen over the years?
Yeah, I think he's, one of the greatest of all time. I think he's incredible. I don't think he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. For anybody to call Islam the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world when Jon Jones is still fighting is nuts and shouldn't be ranking in the pound-for-pound or doing any of the rankings ever, if that's what you really think. Jon Jones has never lost a fight ever. He's fought all the baddest dudes in the world. And then when you think about what pound-for-pound rankings really mean, he moved it up to heavyweight and destroyed the best guy in the world.
In my opinion, maybe Dana White want to hype up the New York fight card against Stipe.
As long as Jon Jones is still fighting, active, and in the rankings, yeah, nobody's pound-for-pound best fighter in the world.
The reporter asked champion Islam Makhachev about Dana White's statement that Jon Jones is pound-for-pound #1 fighter, not him. This is his reaction.
Dana was in here a few minutes ago and we were asking him about you, and he was very adamant saying you're not the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world and that Jon Jones is. And I was trying to push back, being like, you're much more active than Jon Jones, you're fighting more. And he said, no, it's Jon Jones. What do you think about that?
I don't know. Maybe it's his opinion. But I think I saved this card today because all these fights boring and the whole arena almost slept. And we show with Dustin great performance.
Jon Jones has long-standing rivalry with Khabib on the topic when it comes who is the MMA GOAT. Now rivalry has found again since Islam Makhachev obtained UFC pound-for-pound #1 spot, which was previously held by Jon Jones. After UFC 302, Islam win against Dustin Poirier. Jon Jones is not impressed with the performance of Makhachev and raised the question of him being UFC pound-for-pound #1 fighter. Jon Jones wrote on the Twitter. Later on, he deleted this post. He wrote, "So let me get this straight. You go through an absolute dogfight and pull off last-minute submission, and that's what makes you the best? I guess getting injured mean you suddenly lost all the skill? Just curious."